Upgrades.
Welcome back to another JVS movie review, and this film here is a film that I didn't know much about. All I kept on seeing was a very interesting poster with John Boyega on it and Jamie Foxx on it, and I was wondering, okay, what the heck could this movie possibly be about? And the movie I'm referring to is They Cloned Tyrone. Again, it stars John Boyega, it stars Jamie Foxx, it stars Teyonah Parris, and it's directed by Juel Taylor. And here's a synopsis of it. An eerie series of events leads to an unlikely trio down a rabbit hole into a sinister neighborhood conspiracy. First thoughts on They Cloned Tyrone is, one, this is a vintage blaxploitation type of film. If you are a fan of the blaxploitation genre and it is something that you grew up loving, or it's something that as you got older you have grown to appreciate just how amazing a lot of those movies are, this film, from the way it's shot to the way it looks to the way they act in it, all feels like a blaxploitation film. And while it feels like it's shot in the 70s, it's clearly current day, and they pinpointed that we are in current day here. But it just has an old feel to it, and it kind of works a lot with the plot. So we're introduced to John Boyega's character, Fontaine, at the beginning. He is a hustler, a street pharmacist, as we will call him. And we see early interactions between him. We see early interactions between him and Slick, played by Jamie Foxx, who is a pimp. Not a pimp named Slickback, but nonetheless a pimp named Slick. And we meet a worker with Slick, played by Miss Parrish, that once it's set in motion of a counter chance of them meeting with each other for Fontaine to pick up product or money from Slick, and it leads to what seems to be an untimely death of Fontaine, that's when everything comes to fruition and we get the sci-fi aspects of the film as they go ahead and find out that, wait a minute, not only is Fontaine alive, and it's scaring the heck out of Slick because he saw him get shot multiple times, but it leads to a conspiracy. It leads to an underground passageway where they see that a dead version of Fontaine as a live version is looking at him. And then that's when we get to the aspects of, okay, they're cloning people in the hood, but what's the purpose of cloning people in the hood? And that's where this movie excels at. It's kind of a social commentary type of film about exactly what a lot of people in those environments believe the government or people who are not from that environment actually think and would do to you just to prove a point. And a lot of that works in this film. And those are the comedic aspects of it also, because while John Boyega plays Fontaine extremely straight, extremely tough, very reminiscent of if you saw his role on Attack the Block. It kind of reminded me of that, just how tough and straightforward he plays Fontaine. And then you have Jamie Foxx being Jamie Foxx, and then Miss Parrish being her, she's absolutely phenomenal in this movie. All of it builds together to build this amazing story of what a government agency is willing to do to control us, a city, everywhere humanly possible, and how and what they believe are the key functions in these environments that need to be around to make the neighborhood controllable. That is it hit me like a ton of bricks when I realized that's exactly the angle they were going down with this film. And to watch it work, I'm getting excited to think about it. To watch it work on screen is amazing. And I want to say this is the director's directorial debut. And he is great at this film, and I think it was a very smart move to shoot this like a 70s blaxploitation film, because it added the creepiness, the eeriness of those times. And you can get away with a film looking a little cheaper because it's set in this time period, so you wouldn't expect it to be a spectacle of a film. You would expect it to be a lower budgeted type of film. So the way he shot it really works with a possibly limited budget that this film possibly has. But again, it's the performances that drive this film. All three actors, the three main characters in it, are great. Amazing in this film. And it pushes what could be conceived as an average story to a point that this is as close to a great blaxploitation homage film as you can possibly get. It works on every level humanly possible. Jamie Foxx is great. John Boyega is great. Again, everybody. It wasn't a bad performance here. And the storyline was extremely creepy. And normally with films like this, by the time we get to the third act, maybe the cinematography falls off a little bit. Maybe the score gets a little wonky and it just takes you out the mood of the film. This film gets better and better through the acts that it goes through. The third act here is executed perfectly because it literally drives home the point of the film. And that's something you kind of miss in a lot of films that have come out this year, that their third act tends not to drive home the point or the interest of the audience by the time you get to that point. The score is great, a great mixture of today's creepy R&B with a 70s type feel to it. It really works wonders here. Again, I am a lover of blaxploitation films. I absolutely love them. I did not know that was going to be the angle that they would go down with they clone Tyrone. I was not expecting them to go down that angle of the way this film was shot. But once you get there, I think anyone who sees this film will be amazed about how great this film is. So, they clone Tyrone from Netflix. Out of a possible 10, I'm going to give They Clone Tyrone a 9 out of 10. This is one of the best movies of the year for me. And that's saying a lot. But this is one of the best movies of the year for me. I absolutely love the way this film was shot. I love the score of this film. It's amazing. I love the performances. And for a first-time director, this wouldn't be the film I would expect from a first-time director. This would be the film I would expect from someone who's seasoned, who's possibly on their third or fourth film, and they figured everything out and how to make a movie feel like a movie. Because even though it is shot in a way that makes you feel like it's a 70s film, at no point in time does it not feel grand when you're watching it. And that is a feat that most people can't pull off with $300 million budgets. But he possibly pulled this off with a lot less money to make an extremely entertaining film that feels like slight bit of horror at times, definitely some sci-fi elements here, and a huge play of social commentary while not feeling too woke to take you out of it. Like, it's literally something you can watch and not have to feel like you're being talked to about the environment that these people come from. That's not it at all. It's literally a commentary of what possibly higher ups think of lesser people and what they're willing to do to control lesser people. So again, it gives you everything you would want in a film, and a lot of humor in it, a lot of heart in it. Like, it's a scene with John and Jamie when they're in a car and they're talking about Fontaine's life. And it's a lot of cussing in this scene, a lot of everything, but it comes across and rings so true. Their entire conversation. That's what makes this film so good, is that all the conversation pieces of this film feel authentic. And you needed to feel authentic to really get into this movie. But I want you to check it out when it drops on Netflix and let us know what you think of They Clone Tyrone, along with an amazing rendition of Erykah Badu's Somebody Called Tyrone and changing it to Somebody Cloned Tyrone. It was just great song there. But check it out when it drops on Netflix and let us know what you think. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.